Streaming is mysterious. Now that Clock can actually hear me talk about her fic. Ugh. I'm nervous, sorry. Okay, we're starting with Amicable Parting by Clockwork Spider. I'm gonna read the tags and stuff. General audiences, major character death, but this is, I think everyone here is fine with spoilers, so that's not a surprise. This is a sort of alternate end canon. I've already read this, so I basically just described what it is. But we're still reading the tags first. General audiences, major character death, Jen. We know the fandom. It's Jin Guangyao and Lan Shichen. Shichen. There we go. Additional tags, fix it, grief, pre-death, angst. Is it still a fix-it fic if he still dies? And bittersweet parting and spoilers. Spoilers we knew. I spoiled that already for us. Oh, apparently this was for a collection. I didn't actually realize that when I read it the first time. Let's see. I'm not sure if I want to read the summary for this one or not, since it's mostly an excerpt from the fic itself. I will read the notes. I guess this part is not from, so I will read that. Summary, in which Lan Shichun never stabbed Jin Guangyao, and Jin Guangyao awaits trial. Written because I believe in amicable partings. Second person POV. The second person is Jin Guangyao, so we, the reader, are going to be described as Jin Guangyao. It censored Clock's OMG? Twitch is truly mysterious. It didn't censor it for me, though. Maybe it's your settings? I don't know if it's your settings or my settings. I can read it just fine. Anyway, I like this fic a lot, so I'm excited, but also since I'm excited, I'm more nervous. Your arm stub no longer hurt as much as it did. Neither does the wound on your stomach, nor the burns on your other arm. Blood loss didn't kill you, and neither did poison, neither did daga. The physician, in an ambivalent tone, also, I'm sort of trying to do the Mandarin right, but not really. My Mandarin is absolutely terrible. Daga, slightly better. Tone marks are my mortal nemesis. The physician, in an ambivalent tone, told you that you're lucky to have survived. You suppose she's right. So you await trial by the restless mob, thirsty for your blood. When Lan Shichun visits you, you still greet him with a smile. I don't even remember what the tones for that are. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the names. Anyway. You've lost everything but your life, so there's still a chance. You don't know how far you can get if you can convince Lan Shichun to let you go. You'll figure it out, one step at a time. I really like this about the way that Clock writes Jin Guangyao, is that even now, he's like half dead, locked up, awaiting his death sentence, and he's still kind of like, maybe I can find a way to make this better for myself. Maybe I can find a way to weasel out of this in some way. Like, he just constantly, the gears in his head are ticking. I really, really enjoyed that about the way Clock writes Jin Guangyao, because I also read him that way in canon. Just constantly, you know, the hustle. Always looking for a way out, exactly. Your arm? Finally, he speaks, voice hesitant. Better, you answer. Thanks to Arga for saving me. Hi, Moel! You're not too late. It's okay. We just started. All of the start of the fic, in fact, is still on the screen. We haven't gotten that far yet. We're all proud of our son. I also will just lie down and die, Clock. We're very similar in this regard. Clock and I both write Jingguang Yao, just never stopping. But we ourselves are not like that. Hello, Tristan. Yes, we just started. It's alright. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit just because we got more people. Your arm, finally he speaks, voice hesitant. Better, you answer. Thanks to Arga for saving me. You allow the silence to stretch before you. You wait. Hi, Cheshire. Your trial is tomorrow, he breaks the silence, and you draw your breath. You're sending me to my death, Lan Shichun. Mandarin is hard. I can basically only do English and Japanese syllabaries, and everything else is terrible on me. I'm terrible at them, but I'm trying. Lan Shichun, you tell him. I will ensure that you are tried fairly and without prejudice, he says, and has the gall to look you straight in the eyes, pained but determined, the very image of compassionate righteousness. It makes you angry. They'll kill me, you repeat yourself. You have killed too many, Lan Shichun says, and you hope he was trying to convince himself. You tried to kill everyone at Burial Mountain, and yet they lived. Look at me, Lan Shichun. You lift up your bandaged arm stump. My reputation's in ruins. I've made myself an enemy of the entire cultivating society. There's no more options left for me. What harm can I do? You killed Dagu, he says, quietly. You fall silent, but only for a moment. Guilt is something you would use against others because it's familiar. God, that's such a good line. Clock is just so good at these, like, really incisive one-liners that really plainly but so eloquently put down just exactly the heart of the matter. Guilt is something you would use against others because it's familiar. You've had 10 years of staring at the head in your hidden room, you'd know. So I have, you say, but you've never believed in repaying blood for blood. This isn't my call to make anymore, he says, in a voice that is neither cold nor weak. He's made up his mind. You're angry. You know you're wrong, and perhaps, in a just world, you don't deserve to live. But this isn't a just world. God, this is also, again, Clock is so good. Clock is so good. This is a world where people are made by who they choose to side with, and all you wanted was for Lan Shichun to be on your side. I keep saying Lan wrong, even though that's like the easiest part. Lan Shichun. There we go. They're really good lines. I am a bad person, you say quietly. I've done many wrongs, but never have I done any harm to you. I was there when you were escaping from the Wen sect. I offered my full support in rebuilding the cloud recesses. All these years I've made protecting the Lan sect's interests as a top priority. And yet, just like Nie Mingjue, you won't even let me live. But seeing Lan Shichun's expression, crushed, tired, the final words never make it past your lips. You think of Asu, you think of Dagu, and how they died with hate in their eyes. You think of Asong, you think of Wenro. I don't even know how to. The Mandarin R is so hard for me. Wenrohan. Close enough. I'm gonna settle for that. You even think of your father. You think of how you've destroyed almost everyone who's ever meant anything to you with your own 2 hands. Was it worth it in the end? You had lost a long time ago. I'm scared. I don't want to die, you say, and it's not a plea for your life. You're done pleading. You're tired of it. Tired of pretending to be weak when it is what you are. Real talk. The first time I read this fic, I read it on my phone, and I screen capped it on my phone, and I still have the screen cap of that line saved in my photo album in my phone. It's so good. Oof. Oof is correct. It's just a really, really good line. Very illustrative of Jing Mongyao as a character. Oh no, you do! Oh, I guess you would because of like Twitter memes. I didn't even do it for a Twitter meme. I just read it and it was like ruined and was like, I need this saved to my phone. I have caps like that from Empathy too, or at least one. Eventually I will read Empathy. I don't have it scheduled yet though. He opens his mouth, and there are no words. You see him reaching out to you, his hand shaking, hesitant. It clutches your shoulder, and the strength of it burns. He's shaking, and you're shaking, and your wounds burn. Your missing hand burns. Everything burns, but Lan Shichen is here. He's here. There was a time, you remember, when you tried to be the person he thought you were. Aige, you call out to him, placing your good hand on his chest. The anger in you hadn't died, but you will not allow it to rule you. You will not use the last of your strength to hurt him. You are out of time. Do you remember the time at the beginning of the Sunshot campaign? Before I went over to the Wens, when it was just you, me, and Dage, and we'd sit in Dage's hall and talk about our future, or the future. It's a really fucking good line. This line, I completely agree. It's so... Clock is just so good at those. I'm jealous of her power. Do you remember the evening the 3 of us made our vow of brotherhood? We used water instead of wine so you wouldn't have to break your sectoral. Yet I said that I could have been drunk on ecstasy alone. Remember when you would talk to me about Wanji? And I'd ask for your advice on raising Jinling. I'd excuse myself at curfew, but we'd find ourselves engrossed in another topic by the door, and soon we find ourselves staying up just to talk about nothing and everything. Your throat tightens and your eyes burn. You always tried not to ask too much of Lan Shichen, yet he'd always be there. You hope that he could grant you this. Aige, you plead, hand on his chest. I want you to remember me then. Ayao, he says, voice hoarse, a promise made with all the faithfulness he possesses. I will. I will, he repeats, hands wrapped around your own. Thank you, you say, and you smile. In the end, you're glad he's here. I've already left kudos on this, right? Yes, okay. Just checking. I a little bit wanted to talk about this too, but then I also just wanted to keep going because I didn't want to break the moment. But this is another just really good line. Face PA smile. Yeah. It's just the whole thing is just so solidly put together. I sometimes don't leave kudos just because I, like, forget. The kudos button I only sometimes remember it exists. There's probably some fic where I've left, like, really long glowing comments and forgotten to hit kudos. There's other fics like that I've reread, like, 17 times, never left kudos. I'm terrible about that. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this, though, too. Just... Again, it's just really... This isn't exactly a character study fic of Jingguang Yao, but it's a really good character study fic of Jingguang Yao. Just in terms of, like, the way he works and his priorities, the way he views the world. What he wants out of Lan Xichen specifically. It's very, very good. It's... I really enjoy that he doesn't come into this... You know, like, he's holding a grudge. He doesn't come into this thinking... Lan Xichen is going to save me because he loves me and, you know, we've not done anything wrong to each other. It's not like... It's not just a nice, comforting conversation. He's still trying to, you know, take any opportunity he can get, and he's also angry. But, like, it just... The specificity of his regrets, exactly, yes. But it's a very cathartic piece. I enjoy it a lot. I spent actually a decent amount of time considering... I had basically already decided that I was going to start with something Clock wrote that wasn't empathy, because empathy is too long. And I wanted to also read Pluck the Stars, which is also too long. So I was considering where to start for a long time, and I settled on this one because it's just really good and really solidly constructed. It's nice to remember the good times, even if it ended badly for them. Yeah. And in a way, it's not a good ending, but it's not. It lets them both get closure. Yeah. After this, I will read something else short. I don't actually know how hard-hitting it's going to be. It's going to be one of Sui's. And I have never read it before, so it will be an adventure. Amicable Parting by Clockwork Spider. I think I can... Maybe I can link this in chat. Just so everyone can have it. It was very, very good. There you go. There's the link to the fic. So you can all leave kudos unless you have already. I kind of just want to stay with this fic a little while longer. I think I've said most of what I want to say about it. It's just so solid. That's true. That's true. You wouldn't have read it actually because you haven't finished, and this is just completely, entirely spoilers. Anyway, just to close out, I think it might be the first of Clock's fic that I read also. To me, this kind of feels like a classic. I'm not actually sure if it holds that spot in the parts of the fandom as a whole, but it does for me. Like, this is really... It's just such a solid work, and so elegantly all comes together to make this one shape. That doesn't make any sense. It made sense in my head. It's not just that it's concise, although... It's just that everything comes together. It just gives me closure. It gives me it makes me feel complete and whole. It makes the shape. Thank you for understanding, Moel. Everything is in the service of the picture that it's painting. It's very elegantly constructed. There's not excess. Yeah. Thank you all for understanding, even though I don't actually know how words work at all. I'm fluent in 0 languages. All right, next up.